Welcome back. In this video, I want to share with you a short story. It's a story of an American photographer who decided to have a trip to Iran, a 10 days trip. And at the end of his trip, he published a lot of stunning photos he has taken during his trip. But the very interesting thing of this story is what he wrote on the Facebook page Humans of New York, because he told the story that he want to make some to interview some people, to learn more about their lives. And this is the short story I want to share with you. The name of this American photographer is Lawrence, and is leading a lonely life. He is alone. Iran is the first country outside the United States where I ever collected interviews. I remember how nervous I was. This was over 10 years ago. There hadn't been a nuclear deal yet. I didn't have a fixer. I hadn't even been working long enough to know what a fixer was. I'd been assigned a full-time personal tour guide, a requirement for all Americans. He'd prepare a packet itinerary of a museum and historical site for us to visit. I still remember his surprise when I said, "Actually, I just want to stop random people on the street." But miraculously, he agreed to the pivot. And over the next 10 days, we approached well over 100 people. I spent so much time worrying that no Iranian would want to speak to an American with a camera. But on the 100 people I approached, only 3 refused my request. That's the first thing you notice: the hospitality. The average Iranian is so welcoming. "Please come in and eat. Please sit and have a tea." It's why I returned for a second time in 2016. There is an openness there, a long history of humanism, art, and scientific discovery. It's baked deep in the culture. But that openness is suppressed by an empowered minority. Iran is not a country that looks or sounds like its leaders. It's much more youthful, much more liberal, and it's much more female. The current protests are being led by young women, of course, because they are living under laws created by old religious men. At the end of my first trip, I was getting frantic emails from well-meaning people warning me to leave. Hardline journalists had begun calling for me to be stopped from the unspeakable sin of photographing young women, Iranian women. It can be difficult to know exactly what is happening in Iran right now. We know the government is struggling to crack down on the largest protests they have ever seen. We know that many young women have been killed. It can be hard to know how to help. But in a letter to the Times this weekend, Maziar Zafari said the protesters need support from all artists in open and democratic societies. So I'd like to say, especially to the young women risking the most, we see you, we hear you, and you continue to inspire us. And this is the short story I want to share with you. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.